What's up, everybody? It's Brandon. I'm back with another Top 5 Thursday, and I really was going to go away from this motherfucker just once. It seems like he's always commenting, I'm always picking it, but at the end of the day, I was like, damn it, I got to be honest with myself. This is the one I want to do the most. Jacob Williams-Dudgeon. Dude, Top 5 King. I call you that for a reason. Came right on the spot. I think a lot of it has to do with he's smart. He's smart about this. It's not always like what he necessarily wants. It's always like, hey, I saw you posted this, so how about this? And then me, I'm riding that wave. I'm on that momentum. I'm currently on it. Like this week, he was like, do Top 5 Wes Craven. I just got the movie Deadly Friend on Blu-ray. So he opened it with, hey, I just saw you posted the, Deadly Friend Blu-ray from Wes Craven. Why don't you do Wes Craven? So, of course, being on a Wes Craven high, I'm feeling that right now. So hats off to you, Jacob. Killing it. Either way, dude. You give me to do top fives, you're doing a good job. Plus, you're always fucking killing it. I think me and you just have similar interests in movies, so that also helps you a lot. But anyways, just did top 5 John Carpenter. Thank you for that also, Jacob. That was like a couple weeks ago. And now here I am again with Jacob's top 5 Wes Craven movies. All right, let's kick it off with number 5. What could it be? I didn't even write these out, but I know Wes Craven enough to where I don't think I'm going to blow this. Let's hope I don't. I'm at number 5. I got to go Last House on the Left. One that started it all for Mr. Craven. This movie, there's a lot of parallels here between this and I Spit on Your Grave. And I got to tell you, I love both, but I like I Spit on Your Grave, the original, better. In saying that, though, this is still an amazing fucking movie. Now, it's definitely a little dated. You have like the cartoonish, like red paint, like blood, and the action almost feels a little like slowed down just a tad. But I gotta tell you, it's still visceral. It's still fucking, the epitome of macabre. It's fucking it's dark. It's fucking bloody, even if it looks like paint and everything else. And it's still beautifully twisted in all the craziest fucking ways. And you understand why it was basically like a video nasty back then. Because you're watching this movie and you're just like, wow, back in the day in 72, which granted, they got away with a lot more stuff back then. You can imagine, though, people like that were, they were getting away with a lot of that stuff back then because it was so new that people didn't know what to do with it. They were just like, they weren't desensitized. They were like, it took them a while for them to be like, all right, I've had enough. And they went through years of this where they would just have like the darkest fucking movies. And this is one of the pioneers of that, man. You got to think just like a decade before this, you had Psycho, and everybody was like, oh my God, did you see the kill in the shower? And it barely shows anything at all. You know what I mean? And now fast forward 10 years later, you're seeing shit that you wouldn't even necessarily see today. It's so fucking dark and fucked up. And I understand that can be hard for some people to wrap their head around with the raping and all the other shit. I get that. It's a fucked up movie, and you need to know who you are while watching it, but it doesn't change the fact that it is a great movie nonetheless. Last House on the Left is a great movie that kicked off, I almost said Carpenter, Wes Craven's career quite nicely. At number 4, got to go with the original Hills Have Eyes. It's another one I love, and I might even like the remake a little more. It's like, makes it sound like I don't like Craven's flicks. It's just, man, did he spawn some good remakes? Man, did he maybe spawn, I can't remember which one came out first. The Last House on the Left or I Spit on Your Grave came out first. It was around the same time. Either way, like, he picks good movies, man. That's all I'm trying to say. And just because I'm saying there's another movie that might be, oh, I actually like this version better, or like this that was kind of like, I like it better, don't let that subtract from this list, because these are, top 50 material horror movies I'm talking about here. The Hills Have Eyes. Let me just say the first thing. The Hills Have Eyes is that rare movie, like, I think when you first watch it, especially if you catch on to it later in life, that you can kind of end up with an opinion on it where you're like, oh, yeah, this is dated. I'm not really feeling it. Maybe even much like The Last House on the Left, that we were just talking about, his first movie. But this is the movie that I think has became, for me personally, and I think a lot of people could also have experienced this or maybe will experience this if they give it repeat viewings. It is coming to 4K here soon, to my understanding. I definitely want to buy that. Is that this is the type of flick, much like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, much like a Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, if y'all are into that deep cut, or The Town That Dreaded Sundown, if you're into that, that just has a natural, realistic, very like grainy, feels almost like it's actually playing out in front of you. Is this even a movie vibe to it? And I think that's what's so special about The Hills Have Eyes. There's very few movies in the annal of history that have that. They just feel very like you almost like you're watching a snuff film. You're watching this and you're just like, is this really happening to these people? Now the blood and gore isn't necessarily, dialed up to 10, but in those other movies other than Henry Portrait of the Serial Killer, that's not really true either. You just feel like it's there. And the big reason why I think is because it just has that natural, is this fucking real right now vibe. So your mind, and your imagination runs with it so much you think you're seeing even way more than what you are seeing. But if you're watching on the first try and you're not really paying attention, you might be like, oh, well, that was just dull. The acting wasn't great. It doesn't have to be like great acting. Of course, the acting on the screams and shit has to be realistic. But the talking and the dialogue doesn't have to be powerful performances. It just has to be like me talking right now because it wants to feel authentic. There's no overacting. It's just, it feels real. It feels legit. It feels fucking downright creepy. Hills Have Eyes, the original. So fucking good. Definitely need to pop that 4K. Also, I got the second one on Blu-ray, the original second one, that Wes Craven also directed. But I don't even know if he'd want you to know that because that movie is god-awful. What a horrible sequel. But the first, Hills Have Eyes. I got your back. You're on my list. At number 3, and this is where it gets really hard. These 3 movies mean the fucking world to me. I don't need to talk about this one ad nauseum because we just did the Scream review. So if that tells you anything, Scream. Scream, yes. Whisper to a scream. That's all I got to say. That end credit song, that's what makes it, right? No, but damn it, does that have some nostalgia behind it too? Just flat out, great movie. Just changed the face of horror, revitalized slashers. That has to be something, right? Especially for a slasher fan like me. I don't care if a lot of people weren't big fans of like that subgenre of horror or that subgenre of slasher even, like the teenage fucking whatever wave that hit with even H2O and I Know What You Did Last Summer and Urban Legend. I have a fun time with a lot of those. There's a lot of shit ones, but there was some good ones too. And Scream is the biggest reason for that. It revitalized that and the horror genre in general. And I'm happy for that alone. For that alone, it deserves to be on the top 5 because that is a big deal to me as a big horror fan, slasher fan nonetheless. But the movie as a whole, just the self-awareness, off the fucking charts, Mr. Craven. The writing by Kevin Williamson, off the charts, Mr. Williamson. And then the performances. Every one of the performances are just a cut, no pun intended, above the rest when you look at these type of movies. Normally it's like they're wrote off stupid, obnoxious teenagers. There's a bit of that here as well, but they're just orchestrated and played out so meticulously and so perfectly that it works. It makes everything elevate. The rules, again, with the self-awareness that Jamie Kennedy's character is able to just fucking throw out there. Randy, that is. I should name him. And I feel like Randy in my real life sometimes. I'm like, man, if I was in a fucking slasher movie that played out in real life, I would be Randy where I'm talking about other slasher movies. I would be saying the rules. I'd be like, we can't do this, we can't do that, and everybody be rolling their eyes, but I would be coming with the facts. I can relate to Randy. I love Matthew Lillard in this movie. I love Skeet Ulrich. And my God, Sidney Prescott, maybe the best final girl of all time. Can't beat Scream. Scream's got to be up there. It's a 9+ movie. Is that a spoiler alert? Are the other ones 9+? You do the math. At number 2, Nightmare on Elm Street. Yes. Oh my God, Freddy. Come to Freddy. Come on, dude. Hey, Tina, watch this. Oh my God. I can do stupid impressions all fucking day. I always get my Freddy impressions mixed up though, because I'll kind of start to mimic and impersonate the earlier Freddy from Nightmare 2, my favorite. I've already revealed that so I can say it, where he's really dark, you got the body, I got the brain. That type of Freddy. And you also have that welcome to prime time, bitch. You have that. So sometimes when I haven't done the impressions in a while, it meets somewhere in the middle. Because there's more than one Freddy. Come on. But I will say this much. The first 2 Freddys are my favorite. And the first one is definitely better than all those Freddys past the second one that I mentioned in my mind. That darkness, that creepiness that was instilled in that first one by Wes Craven, you can't fucking beat it. And that's the thing about Freddy, man. Also, the mystery behind him. What is this? Could this actually be real? The uniqueness of this killer that gets you in your dreams. Such a nice play on things, especially for that time where we just had people like Michael Myers and Jason running around and other clones just cutting people up. And you got this guy. It's slasher, but it's a whole new different spin on it. You get a young Johnny Depp in the movie. Not the best in this movie, but he's damn good for, other slasher movie leads and what have you, or co-leads, whatever you want to call them. And just the fact that it's Johnny Depp, it's like, fuck yeah, Johnny Depp was in a Freddy Krueger movie. I can get down with that. Actually, in 2 Freddy Krueger movies, because he actually appears in Freddy's Dead on the TV set. Ha ha, fun fact if you didn't know that. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street is so fucking good. It's endlessly watchable if you're a big slasher movie fan. And it's a classic. It's a fucking classic. What else can you say? I can tell you this much. I had one really important thing I was going to say about it, but I forgot. Doesn't matter. I've talked about this movie a million times. I'll talk about it a million more. Nightmare on Elm Street is fantastic. Robert Englund, ultimate boogeyman. Nightmare on Elm Street at 2. And then this is where it hits number 1, and you're like, damn. Jacob, if you're still listening right now, you're like, could Deadly Friend be his number 1? No, it is not. But you've got to be looking around at this point, and you're like, wow, like his 4 biggest movies were 5, 4, 3, 2, and then you're like, well, what's 1 though? Because then you're sitting there like, well, shit, dude, this list is kind of bland. He was just picking his favorites. Or not his favorites, everybody's favorites. Well, that's the thing is, you know, if you like the favorites, you like the favorites. What can you do? But at the end of the day, to switch this list all the way around and maybe kind of throw you off, I do have a number 1 that is completely different. That is different from the norm. Actually, people talk about this one a decent bit in comparison to those other movies, but I think it deserves so much more love, and that is The People Under the Stairs. One of my favorite horror movies of all time. The definition of a movie that literally gets the most out of a plot it possibly can. Now, it's a simple plot. It's basically Don't Breathe Before Don't Breathe, kind of, where this kid and this other older friend of the family go to rob these people because they need money. You know, the older guy kind of has ulterior motives, played by Ving Rhames, and the younger kid, you know, is trying to help out a sick mother. So they go in there, but they're trapped in there. And when they get in there, it's the house of fucking horrors. They can't leave. Everything's bolted up. It's locked up. They have a Rottweiler. These people that live there that's trying to attack them. And then the 2 people live there have just all types of craziness. You got the dude over there chasing them with the fucking shotgun. The guy that played the werewolf in Silver Bullet. So many other good movies. Great horror actor. The mom might even be crazier. There's a daughter there that's locked up and seems very fragile, almost like has she been kidnapped? What's happening? I mean, you do figure out all of that, but if you haven't seen it, booyah, there's that part of it. And then, of course, the title. There's people under the fucking stairs. Who are these people under the stairs? What are they? Are they cannibals? What is this? And, you know, they might be. Yeah, there's a lot of fucking craziness to this movie. And it's like, you know, it's got that horror aspect for sure, but it's also got that little Evil Dead 2 aspect. They're not similar per se, but they have that like batshit crazy horror nailed down to a T. When I watch People Under the Stairs, it's one of my favorite batshit crazy horrors where it's like every second you're like, they wouldn't do that with it. Oh my God, they did that. Like, is this going to go? Whoa, it's going here. Oh, they're using that. Oh my God, it's just like boom, 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 a mile a fucking minute going batshit crazy. It might be funny one second. It might be absolutely creepy the next. It might seem kind of tame one second. Then it might be fucking flat out like, oh God, they're showing that. Like, this movie is a little bit of everything. It's well acted for these kind of movies, and it's just a ton of fucking fun. The People Under the Stairs is definitely my favorite Wes Craven movie. Get at me. And that's tough to say because of the ones, you know, that came before it on this list. But that is my favorite. My dog, Fool, will always be in my heart, bro. All right, y'all. Appreciate it. Jacob, again, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Keep posting. You got to knock Jacob off his fucking high horse, dude. He keeps getting these. But again, I had to be honest with myself. I was like, fuck. Coming off Deadly Friend, I do want to do this. I want to do some top 5 Wes Craven, damn it. So here we are. Love you guys. See you.